how incredible is it that you just so happen to be born at the time that Tony Hawk is alive, and you get to watch him skate, and now you're friends with him. Like, the Tony Hawk is alive in this time period, and I just happen to be there. Fucking nuts.
I was in a contest. My father paid for me to be in the contest, the ramp ride in Australia, and I was late to qualifying, so they put me in the 4th heat with Tony Hawk. And Tony Hawk is standing on the ramp, and I'm standing next to him, and my little brother and my dad are filming me with a camera, and I'm like, and you can see my face that I'm in awe that he's standing next to me. And like at one point I'm looking at him and he looks to my direction and I immediately look away because I can't get eye contact with the great Tony Hawk. And it's like at this point it's not real. It's like a fantasy.
There are certain people that I still fan out on every time I see him.
Who?
Eric Costin, Guy Mariano, Mark Johnson, Rodney Mullen, Tony Hawk. You just go, whoa, man.
We did have dinner.
Lucky.
We had
I
dinner
am lucky to be alive.
We
now.
had dinner with Tony the other night. We FaceTimed you.
You
And
were
were a little like.
Yeah, you should be. You have to be.
Yeah.
It's that like that.
It'd be weird if you weren't. Yeah.
Yeah, like
cool that you were.
skateboarding owes, like if they owe anybody, they owe Tony Hawk and Rodney Mullen. Those are the two dudes.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just like. We owe them everything. It's nowhere close to what it is without those two people.
Right, and because you've got what you've got from skateboarding, and I've got what I've got from skateboarding, and then also the things that you've passed on to millions. You don't know it, but the millions of people that you've influenced to skate, and then travel the world and have the joys that you and I have had on the road with our other brothers and sisters of skateboarding.
Yeah,
those two triggered all of it.
That's
totally.
So cool.
Yeah,
So
we
it's
owe
like,
them just like our favorite musicians, guitarists like Joe Perry, right? Joe Perry gives it up to Muddy Waters or to BB King or anybody of the old blues stuff.
Right.
But that didn't really hit you as much. Like these kids that watch me now, the Rodney Mullen, Tony Hawk era doesn't hit them as much as my era with P-Rod and things like that hit them.
That's why we have to talk the way we
go,
talk.
hey, look back.
We have
just
to.
check it out. It's worth watching.
That's why
they're better
Anderson
than we are. Like as far as athletes go, like you think like, dude, I mean, they just keep getting better and better. As far as athletically goes, no, they don't. The humans do not get better athletically. We are if anything, we are equal to the dudes that were skating in the early 90s. Doing like with 39 millimeter wheels, doing back threes.
I have a joke in my set about Tony Hawk where I talk about how there's the time there where I competed against him, and after the contest he would win, and I would be lucky to get top 10, and then he would stay on the ramp and continue to skate, and I would go get cocaine and hookers.
Right.
Because it was the 90s and I got top 10 in the world, and like if you got top 10 in the world, you got cocaine and hookers. Like that's what I was.
That was the prize purse.
I remember looking at him on the ramp and going, he's not going to get any cocaine if he stays up there. and then part of my joke is like looking back there, I'm like, there is no Jason Ellis pro skater, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I feel like that might have had something to do with the decisions of doing cocaine and hookers after it. But then I say, I'm in the game.
Unless they added that to the game.
By the way, hiring hookers, radical feminist, giving a woman money, supporting a woman, paying for sex.
Wow.
Thank you. A lot of men are not doing it. And they're just doing these transactional things where they know it's going to be that dynamic and they don't pay. You financed someone's daughter's college education.
It's the first time I've ever received a compliment for getting a prostitute.
Love you. Can I ask 3 questions?
Yeah. Then we got to wrap it up.
I know you do, but I have these questions that I want to know. Number 1, do you think, because I look at a lot of skateboarders and comedians and I see that they, have rough personal lives, whether it's, his dad left. So even though he was in something that, didn't work, he's like, I'm not going to leave. Like my dad left. You don't leave. Do you think that what you said earlier about the therapy, about skating being therapy for you, and I'm sure you do too, you didn't hit a bottom enough to go to therapy, actual therapy, soon enough? Do you know what I mean? It's like comedy for me in a lot of ways. I was able to work out my feelings and get, the validation I needed for people corroborating my reality by doing stand-up, right? Because I always thought I was invisible and crazy. And then I would say something on stage, people laugh. I go, okay, so I'm not crazy. So I didn't actually go work on myself because that was like a Band-Aid. that was keeping me. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
I
no,
get
the success of skateboarding. Well, it's a different era, so it's harder to go to therapy back then. But like it's more of a acceptable thing these days. Like when I came from an old school, like my father was like, if you go to therapy, you're gay. But the
You're
success,
like, you ain't seen
him.
nothing yet.
the success fully stalled that I would do that. Like if I had have not been, if I hadn't got a payoff from all the hard work in skateboarding, it would have been, I would have been quicker to go, okay, you've got problems.
Right.
But
Right.
because I was like a problem child, a frustrated, scared little boy, and I pushed all that energy into skateboarding. Skateboarding paid off. Like even when there was the era of like you didn't make a lot of money, I was still one of the coolest people in my little world. So I didn't need therapy. Like was I an asshole? Did I neglect people? Did I treat women like in a way that they didn't deserve because I wasn't thinking about their emotions? Or hell yeah, I
You
did.
thought
Like,
about their bank accounts.
I can't even
more important.
remember it. Like I was
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I'm having sex with some girl on the road, and then I go, she's like, I think I love you, and I'm like, wow, that's retarded. And then I go off and sleep with somebody else. I'm breaking people's hearts and not understanding that I'm doing it.
There's something wrong with that person too that thinks they're in love with
Agreed.
you after one thing.
Agreed.
So that's
but
not.
still, there's like,
Yeah, but you can't change them, but you can change you.
that's it. And I could have just said, look, that's crazy. You know, like I'm definitely probably not going to reach out to you again, or even before it happens. Just so you know,
You should
I'm
just
on
let
the
them
road.
know in
I'm not going to
advance.
do
Skaters
this.
don't make as much as you think they do.
Well, I don't know about now. How are they now?
It's weird. Skateboarding's bigger than it's ever been, but there's like a big cloud of money that floats above, and some people are getting it, but it's a very few amount. Like let's say there's probably 20 skaters in the world that make a good living,
Yeah.
and everybody else is just getting by.
Right, because I know vert guy like Jimmy Wilkins to me is one of the greatest skateboarders alive.
amazing.
And he doesn't make a lot of money.
Right.
And I just think
Criminal.
because people don't appreciate vert skating, and it's high time it flipped. I don't want street dudes to not make money. I just want vert dudes to. I don't want to hear this sub story for like what. We're talking 30 years now where vert dudes don't get paid, and I'm like, what? Look what
The
they're
vert
doing.
button.
Because it's sponsorships, right? It's
Because we're not cool. We ride one ramp and we compete. There's, as I said earlier, a street dude cannot compete. It's actually cooler to not compete. If you are creative and you have great artistic photos and videos where the backdrop and the
Yeah.
trick you're doing is stunning, then that is like real money. People buy your shoes.
Yeah.
Jimmy Wilkins can't sell a shoe because I love it. But because I've got another job, but we're
Yeah.
dead. We're ninjas. We're the last of a dying breed.
It sounds like what it is what's the commodity to what you do is that you're selling a lifestyle, and there's so many facets of the lifestyle that you can sell as a street skater.
Bingo.
There's only one lifestyle that you're selling as a vert skater, which
And
is
if you-
I'm on this ramp, which
Right.
isn't the coolest lifestyle.
And if you do
there's
it,
a lot of
like
competing lifestyles to be sold.
There's real injuries in vert, like, and there's a section of like,
Offense taken.
What, did you stub your toe one time, Chris?
I'm sorry, dude, I'm sorry.
I put his socks on every morning.
If you do like 12-stair rails and shit, you can get just as worked on than you can on vert.
Right.
But you don't do 12-stair rails in the first 3 years of your skateboarding.
Totally.
In vert, you're dropping in the first 3 years, and
Yeah.
now you're doing like 35 mile an hour. If you do it wrong,
Yep.
you get knocked out.
You know what's
not getting knocked out?
Also, there's just way more street skaters than there are vert skaters
Yeah.
because of the
Yo,
ramp.
you're
Like
alone.
so there's so many more people that you market to as a street skateboarder, and then those video parts, like for a long time in the 90s, right? Like every team had to have one token vert dude. Like you had vert covered if you had one person. Like Mad Circle had Toss Papas, right?
Yeah, we were all
and
looking
everybody-
for the team that didn't have a
the
vert
team
guy.
that
to
didn't
put
have a
us on.
vert guy,
Yeah.
and then the fast forward button
Yeah, we
became
were
called
called-
the vert button.
Yeah.
Because you'd be fast forwarding the
Everybody
vert part.
fast forwarded our parts.